Okay, let me just figure this out. I need to join the waiting room. We'll pretty much just be ready to start on time, as well as providing commentary. Let me just get the stream audio up.
Alrighties. So, hello everybody! Can you guys hear me alright? I am JordanTheLass.
Yep, sounds pretty audible.
And I am the biggest nut in the world for trying to run Rocket Nut Adventures. Expect me to giggle a lot. And, real quick before I start, for every boss that I kill with under 2 hearts, I will be donating $2. And if I get more than 5 hits, or 5 hits on, Axel 1, I will be donating $5 for that. And if this is a no death run, I'll be donating $20. And if I beat my PB, I'm going to donate $40 on top of everything else. Okay, so, are you guys ready? I'm ready.
It's very generous of you. Yeah, I think we're ready. So, would you like, how much of the commentary do you want to divide between either of us?
I'm probably not going to be, talking all that much because I'm going to concentrate. But you can, talk as much as you like.
Yeah, sure.
Alrighties, so,
Okay.
let's get started.
I'll go into this assuming I'm taking the bulk of the commentary then.
For sure. Thanks, Strickland. Alright, let's do this.
Okay.
In 3, 2, 1, go!
Okay, so this is Rocket Adventures. It's a Genesis side-scrolling game, and the main mode of movement through this game is the meter boost, which I'm using right now. It's also the main way to attack in this game. It's tied to the same attack button as the sword swipe, but you hold the button to charge the meter, and then when the meter is full, releasing the button releases the rocket boost, which you can aim in 8 directions. If it hits a wall, it will ricochet in the opposite direction, which can sometimes be used for movement attacks. So you can see that there's a variety of ways that you can attack in this game, and the main form of attack that's going to be used through most of the game is just the generic sword swipe. You wouldn't think that it's a particularly efficient way of dealing damage, but on most enemies it actually is, due to the fact that damage in this game is dealt in 2 different ways. There's simple attack damage that's caused by, hitting enemies, such as a rocket boost, and then there is per frame damage. So whenever you're inside an enemy hitbox, such as a boss hitbox, and you just have a lingering sword phase, that deals damage every frame. And this generally deals much more damage than simply boosting into enemies. It kind of depends on the type of enemy that you're fighting. There's 2 different types of enemy class in this game. There is enemies that simply take X amount of hits to beat. Those you can just hit with any type of attack and it's fine. And then there's enemies that have an HP where you want to use per frame damage on those. So there's a short auto scroller here, and then there's a robot snake that comes from the bottom from the back here. This is an example of staying in its hitbox and trying to deal per frame damage with the sword. Whereas the boss of stage 1, which is going to be after this castle section, is one of those static number of hits bosses that you want to deal just a certain number of hits and then the boss will die pretty much.
Well, I kind of messed that up.
So the castle section here has some pretty advanced movement. You can try and use Jordan's going with more of a backup route here, and we enter into another short scroll segment here. This is a good opportunity to do less health you can finish a stage with, the better in most cases. It's obviously introduces quite an element of risk and reward into the run, since if you're at very low health like this, you need to not take any hits, so it can make the game quite challenging, but it does save quite a non-trivial amount of time across an entire run. Like, you're looking at having probably between, I'd say, 10 and 15 seconds saved at least over the course of a run.
I can't believe I got that.
High health and low health finishing stages. So this is the first boss, and it always follows the same movement patterns. It's always going to come at the same spots, so we can get 2 sword swipes in each of those. 2 mana that dips in, and then
Oh my gosh, that was close. I almost missed it.
or when it comes off the top of the screen, and it's dealt with fairly quickly. So that is a pretty good stage 1 boss to kill. If you take much longer to kill that boss, then you have quite a long section to do where it spawns a lot of smaller enemies, and you can't really speed that section up. It does take quite a while to go through, but quite a good stage 1 boss kill. So we're going into stage 2 now, and we immediately go into a mini boss here where you have to wait for the arms to come down, because the hitbox is active before that point, but it doesn't actually take damage before that point. So then again, slow hitbox in contact with the enemy's hurtbox deals some very efficient damage. I'm just going to boost along a little here, avoiding these water jet ski enemies. I'm not quite sure how to describe them. But we are coming up fairly soon on one of the more difficult mini-bosses in the game in terms of getting a quick there's this waterfall section where you can be behind and ahead of the waterfall, and with a little specific setup.
You spawned on the wrong side.
Okay, going on the right side here. If you have a very specific setup at the start of the fight and getting out to the left, it's possible to use damage boosts to get a very quick fun cycle on that side, but it's definitely one of the most advanced tricks in this game.
I have no idea
Now
where
we
I
just
am.
need
There I
to
am.
try and stay on the same side of the waterfall as the boss. There we go. Now we need to go back to the front of the waterfall to progress through the stage.
That was so janky. I couldn't tell where I
The
was.
rest of stage 2, movement-wise, is fairly elementary. There's this screen and
Oops.
moving spikes, which are physical obstacles, unfortunately. So there's a specific way to try and avoid them. I'm seeing the ricochet of the rocket boost being tried to use to send us in a fairly efficient manner through these screens, but it's quite tricky handling all of the moving physical objects, let's say. And we can
Yeah,
use this
especially
minecart
with that
now,
bat.
quite a long auto scroll segment, and it has some difficult platforming sections interspersed. So there's several enemies that come on the screen. The minecart is always going to come on in the same patterns, so you just know when to expect these guys to come on. After a couple more, the minecart is going to need to be abandoned, and you can take a jump with quite a lot of momentum. It's quite difficult to make a mistake here and hold it dead, so this is definitely not trivial at all. And the rapid jumping between minecart sections on here is even worse. So this part is actually quite tricky if you try and boost the minecart, because the thing you have to remember about boosting in this
Oh my gosh, I was so scared, so I didn't do that.
you don't have control over spots. You boost in direction, then your health is until you land, so you need to make sure that if you're doing boosts during precise platforming sections that you start in very specific spots. I think Jordan's aiming to enter this boss with quite a lot of platforming, which is certainly not unwise, since this boss uses a lot of damage boosting. It's got 3 different phases. It's basically a train that follows you. You fight the front of it, and then the arms in the second phase, and then the back of it in the third phase. The third phase has quite a quick be attempted. Oh, that was a really nice first phase. Finding
Thanks.
a very precise position there to just sit there and like artificially gain some high frames and just keep using the sword swing to deal very efficient damage. So now there's these hands that try and eventually attack you in the arena, but yep, we can fairly efficient damage and take care of them before they even attack. So by going to the front here, you get to attack the back of the string that's on the screen with a potential damage boost to get knocked into it on the base of left,
Yeah.
and then you can stick to the side of the box and just away from it completely, and that very quickly. So 2 hearts is, again, quite low in this stage with a pretty healthy run so far, honestly. And you'll get to see here exactly what I mean about the life bonus draining quite slowly. You get the clear bonus, which that's always going to be the same, so you can't skip that. But the life bonus, you control that simply by how much life you have remaining. So coming into stage 3 here, and the first screen of stage 3 is definitely one of the most difficult parts of the game for pure movement. This lava that's rising and falling, it is an instant death hazard. If you contact it, you will just die, no questions asked. But
I can't believe I got that.
nice here, and one more. Wow, that was a really nice screen there, like not slowing down at all. It is far more difficult than it looks to handle that because there's a momentum-based mechanic.
Yes, I got that too.
Hopping where the boost gives you a very large speed boost, but when you contact the ground, you'll very quickly decelerate to your walking speed. If you jump as soon as you hit the ground, you'll maintain that. It's a short window though, and especially in that screen with foreground objects blocking your ability to see where you are, it's very difficult to gauge. So in this spot, we can just moderate how quickly we're attacking to get this floor quickly, and now with some precisely placed hits, we can use the projectile from the sword to just clip this guy's main hitbox. The point of this mini-boss is that after destroying that claw, it actually massively increases the amount of remaining health. So it takes it down to just about, I think it's 12 hits to kill that guy, which is a lot quicker than just wailing on the main spot as the fight begins. So 2 hearts remaining. This is interesting. There's definitely some opportunities to do health management here, since the stage 3 boss is pretty much always going to progress in the same way. In that there's a little bit of dodging. You actually grab a heal during the boss, and then we take 1 damage boost to kill to hopefully get a 1 cycle as the boss's weak spot comes out.
Yeah,
So
for the last couple times, I haven't gotten the 1 cycle on this boss, so
avoid any other sources of damage. The bats and the spikes deal a minor amount of damage. The lava deals a very heavy amount of damage. Sometimes it's not always possible to directly tell just from what's on screen how much damage you'll take from the source, because the game expresses your health. It's an integer value, but due to the way that damage can round and how much damage is displayed per heart, sometimes you can think you're about to take half heart damage and you'll instead take a full heart. So sometimes it can round up in an unexpected way. So unless you've been taking very careful note of how much damage you're taking,
oh my goodness, that was so close.
Heart's value of damage, and you instead take a full heart. But there's the 1 cycle on the boss, very nicely performed. This is a really nice one so far, honestly. And yeah,
I almost completely missed that.
Stage 4 definitely has a lot of hazards to worry about the whole way through. Starting with a mini-boss fight, which is basically just a tennis game, you'll see what I mean. But after that point, there's a lot of environmental hazards in stage 4. We have to fight against really strong wind when walking on top of an airship, going along the bottom of the airship where the entirety below it is just death pits, and you have to try and cling to rails. We'll see that as well. And there's going to be another mini-boss fight, and there's a lot of stuff to worry about in stage 4. So here's that tennis match I talked about with Captain Fleagle, and pretty nice fight there still, just waiting for the barrier to go away, and then a diagonal boost and straight into the loading zone. So here's moving along the top of the ship, but then there's these barrels that are thrown by Fleagle and try to keep knocking us back. And if we do push back those barrels, they do really kill us, so it's quite important. So now we just get around the nose of the ship and it's back down the other way. Strangely, this is one part of the game where an out-of-bounds trick would really help here, since the objective here after this mini-boss is directly under where we came out of the ship, but there's no way to go to the left and go under the ship. You can go to the right and reach the loading zone. You can see where you need to be, but you just barely can't make it. So if we could do that, it would probably save at least 30 seconds without having to do this whole section. But unfortunately, we're not that lucky, so we just dispatch with the mini-boss. And then a couple of swinging platforms here, which if you're feeling very brave, you can boost across these, but it's really precise. And then into the ship. So now these laser gates are always going to be the same as long as you don't stop moving, so as long as Jordan doesn't take any hits, these will always align in the same way every time. And then we just have a bit of downtime with this spot. very start of Fleagle being a safe spot.
Look, it's the dancing robot! Intentional hit there.
So this last phase of Fleagle can be quite dangerous since with all the explosion effects going on, it can cause inputs and actions to get dropped very easily, which means he can just run into you and flat out kill you as the phase starts.
I sacrificed a little bit of time just so I can have proper health damage.
Stage 5 just now, which is... It's a very weird stage. The vast majority of Stage 5 is auto-scrollers of some variety. There's not like too much you can do to speed up Stage 5, but it's nonetheless a very dangerous stage because we first got the flying section before we get to the castle, and once we get into the castle, virtually everything that you can take damage on is an instant death. Like, one of the things that this game is known for is that hard mode is very, very hard, in that everything in hard mode kills you in one shot, regardless of the damage. And this is the one spot in the one where there isn't too much difference between easy mode and hard mode. Because, like I say, once we get into the castle stage, like, everything is instant death, pretty much without
Yeah, this is probably one of the most relaxing parts of the game.
Just try and take specific little damage boosts at specific points in this first section before we reach the mini bosses if we want to have like optimal health management. And if we're not aiming for that, then it's still fine to just have a lot of health for the boss of the stage, which can be annoying with the rest. I'll be speaking more on that when we get there. So this mini boss has two phases. It's going to first come to the left and just stay inside it again and just wail on it. This is by far the most efficient damage balls. And now try and get towards the middle of the screen here. And again try and stick as far inside as possible. So taking a hit is definitely unintended, but it does give you some strength to just
I was
inside
a
the
little
box.
bit out of
And this
position
health
there.
right here is actually potentially optimal. 2.5 hearts left here. Assuming no more damage is taken, this allows us to take one hit on the boss of this stage, which can potentially set up the fastest possible way to kill it. So now, these robot pigs that we see, these things are instant death. If you contact these things at any point, it's instant death. And this first section is a race down to the boss. So you can see there's not a lot of spare time there. It's the same thing here, they don't choose this on the screen, but the rocket boost makes travel very, very quickly. So, straight out of that into another type of instant death hazard, we've got this ring where once we stroke the pillar, the ceiling just starts collapsing, and we need to just ride this ring up as it falls down. And some of these hallways, the way that they're situated, if you boost in the incorrect direction, it's pretty much unrecoverable. Like, you need to boost in the right direction at the right time, otherwise you virtually can't bypass this room, even in a casual sense. I think they anticipated just how hard this room is, because they have a 1-up there, and that 1-up spawns every time you're on the screen. So if you get that 1-up and then die at the last section here, that 1-up does respawn when you play the screen again. I think they deliberately put that there because they were like, alright, this screen's really hard. Like, that's a very unforgiving screen. So now we've got these platforms, which you can see you sword swipe to make them go down, make them go up, or you need to swipe it in the opposite direction to make it stop, and then you can swipe it again to make it go up, which we need to do in this screen since these glowing spike balls, although they're very pretty, they are, once again, like everything else in this stage, an instant death hazard. And dying near the end of this screen is a very, very hefty time loss. It's one of the worst time losses you can take in this game.
Yeah, I've lost many a run to this.
You can see how long the screen is, and we're about halfway through the screen now. The music's really nice in this section.
And Sparkster's gonna dance.
Like, I'm just gonna let you guys enjoy the music for a bit.
Alright, I'm gonna take the safe strat here. Because I failed it more than 3 times in practice earlier.
affect it there by boosting the gem trail, but it needs to be very precisely placed, and if you miss the boost, then you just die, because you don't make it to the end, you find the spike balls, and it's one of the worst deaths you can take in the game. So that's a pure example of a high-risk, low-reward strat, which I definitely blame Jordan for going there. So here's the quote-unquote boss, but we need to run away first. This is Axel here, the counterpart Black Knight, Sparks is the Black Knight, Axel's the Black Knight.
Okay, I might die here.
So you can run away and get out.
I'm gonna be safe here, though.
So this fight is quite weird. He's always going to lunge towards you and try and attack you. The first few hits will be 3 hits, and then ideally 4 hits to be a good.
Oh no!
So
It's too
now
late.
we just back off, and a little bit mistap on that hit, unfortunately. Yeah, you can see that what the strategy for this fight is. Once you reach a certain point in this fight, you want to go towards him to take a hit, back off so that he misses, and then counter-attack with your own hit. But that is pretty difficult to gauge.
Yeah, I died there because I hesitated so much.
So if you're already at low health and using health management, taking a death here is very good.
That was really unfortunate.
So hopefully a second try lucky with this fight. So like I said, the first few hits are pretty easy. Do some health management. Yeah, see, Axel's smart, he's beautiful. But the point of trying to take a hit at a specific point first time in the fight is you can see here when Axel's close to death, he backs off. If you take the drill exchange at a specific time, he doesn't back off like that, and he keeps punishing.
Okay, phew.
There we go. Second
Sorry
fight.
about
Like,
that.
that fight was quite intimidating, but as long as you follow the strat strictly, it's not too bad, but like I say, it's very easy to make a mistake there.
Yeah, I mean,
So if
That
there
wasn't
wasn't
too bad.
enough auto-scroller gameplay so far, we've got Stage 6, Deep Space. Dagran jokes about this being my favourite part of the run. This is an entirely auto-scroller stage, where, although it's an auto-scroller, the pace of the stage is definitely
lost time there.
This is part of why this stage can be very frustrating for me. It's an auto-scroller, but you need to play very accurately to save time, because this stage is divided into a bunch of different waves, and the waves don't start until all the previous objects are off screen. So as the enemies are coming on screen, you need to kill them very quickly, and as they're dropping things, you need to kill them very quickly as well. So I'm not a big fan of this style of gameplay at the best of times, and then needing to play super accurately at the same time. Like, it's surprisingly easy to lose time in this stage. You'd look at the stage and just think, oh well, there's not really much time
one's up here.
to lose here, but there absolutely is a lot of time you can lose in this stage. It can be quite unforgiving. So the mini-boss here, which is like Grand Boost on and trying to hold the right stick.
I can't believe I got that.
Nice, that's a very good kill. And then we get one more wave of enemies or drops that we can get. Like, there's a bunch of objects that circle around you, and depending what you hit, so here's Axel in a new mech suit, and it fires that huge looking beam. It only does that once, thankfully, so now we're going to just wail on him and the couple of enemies to try to focus. Okay, so there's Axel down, and then we're coming on to the main stage boss,
That's
which
fine.
is a very long fight with multiple different waves. The first wave, we've got no choice but to just do some dodging around since there's no weak spot to attack, so it just shows you the way this thing moves, how big this thing is, and all of the things you need to avoid on it. This boss is definitely a case of, although you want to try and kill this thing quickly, you absolutely need to be safe enough to not to take a death, because there's no checkpoints during this fight. If you die at any point in this fight, you go back to before this point where it can then swing and start circling around you. So this is massive time loss if you take a death later in this fight. And taking a death on this boss can be quite easy, because if you contact the main body of this boss and just like the ship itself, it deals 4 hearts of damage. So even from full health, it will just kill you 2 hits to contact this thing. So instead, even though we're still going to want to stay close to it and deal sword damage, hopefully we're going to jump boost on the sword, ideally, and get really close to it and just kill it. So that's the main part of the fight done. And now we're entering the last phase, which still takes quite a long time, even though we only need to take 4 hits. This thing is only vulnerable at specific points, So these sections are going to be more or less scripted the way that this proceeds. That it's always going to use the same path patterns, and then it exposes the new spot and that's the so it's going to try and get 4 hits in one, so the boss is dead in 3 more hits. And then it goes ballistic like this, but you've actually got a safe spot at the very top left of the screen. So we're going to be able to take careful stock of the remaining health and take a little bit of damage to manage it or get it as low as possible with all these phases. I like to just try and save all my health as much as possible and then lose it in the last phase because I think, well, there's no point in losing it early on just in case I take an accidental hit somehow in the last phase. Like I wouldn't want to be in the last phase with Ellie and Cockney and then actually accidentally take it because it's the worst possible death you can take in the world, basically. This is looking pretty good. This is 3 hits, and we've still got at least 1 hit worth of health left.
Okay, phew.
So that's the ideal health to end the stage on. Half a heart is the best health management you can have. So that's really nice. That'll be a very low life bonus. We're going to be moving now into stage 7, which overall I think it's probably the hardest stage in the run. It's got a lot of boss
pretty
fights.
hard.
One of the boss fights in particular has pretty much the hardest trick you can perform in the run. There's a lot going on in this stage. So we enter the stage with a fight with the Pig Emperor, which turns out to be a robot. It's just a couple of phases. It's fairly elementary, although this guy can be a big problem. I think Jordan's taking like a safe strat here. It's a little slower, but you can use the guys very easily. So the second phase of the fight is pretty simplistic itself. What we need to worry about is the next mini-boss coming up, Axel Gear, the Black Knight. It's separated into 3 phases, and the first phase of the fight has by far the most difficult business performance in this run. It's possible to get a kill on him by just standing right next to him and using the backswing of the sword to keep dealing damage every time he needs iframes, but it's a 2-frame window every time you do it, and his position changes by 1 pixel every time you damage him, and it's a very short positional window as well, so I think Jordan's going to have a go at this, but at some point, if the health is getting low, we'll probably change to the safety strat, because this is a very punchy strat to try and
I didn't get the 5 hits.
And then trading hits like this, it's how it goes most of the time. So now she's using a safety strat where she's avoiding Axel's counter-attack. The trick to this phase is all based on the fact that if you're facing away from Axel when you damage him, he'll always just do a soul swipe when he comes out of his iframes. If you face towards him, then that first phase is very chaotic. So now we've got 2 phases left. The second phase, we're going to try to get him as he comes through into space and try and finish him off at the top of the screen. Or when he comes back to the top, that works too.
That was slow.
So now for phase 3, we want to scroll the camera down and go back up to a specific spot so we can see him come from the top of the screen, boost to the right at a specific point to manip his position, and then just wail on him with the sword to get a very quick phase 3. That was a very nice phase 3 kill.
Alright, so now we're heading into my version of the
So the next room that we're entering here is named by a lot of runners the Hell Room. This is, like, pound for pound, probably the most difficult room in the game to do quickly. There's a lot of these enemies running around. They deal a lot of damage. Okay, now using a nice ricochet there. One of the nice properties of this game is that whilst you're rocket boosting and whilst you're ricocheting after the rocket boost, you are completely invulnerable. So after you initiate a boost, until you contact the ground and actually gain control again, you can't be damaged by any source. So Jordan exploited that to bounce through an enemy and get straight into the next loading zone, which is very nice. And this is the last main boss fight of the game. We do have low health here, and ironically this is the one stage where health management doesn't really mean anything because the area is all screen after this one stage. But we still just have quite little health remaining, and thankfully the boss deals very
Oh my gosh!
damage to pretty much all of the attacking sources. Although this is very low health, and
He wasn't being very nice.
here is definitely the most erratic phase of the fight, so even though there's half a heart remaining, as long as Jordan plays carefully, this should actually be fine. There can be a couple of problem phases of the fight, and this fight is quite lengthy, so you'd really rather not take a death now, but I think the first phase of the fight is the hardest part of the fight to do without taking a just needs to pay attention to exactly where she is at a specific point in the fight. And the weak point comes out here at specific spots, and it's based on where you are at a specific point. So it's basically just manipulating where the weak spot's going to be.
Okay, so I think we're gonna be good.
There is a couple of phases in this fight left, but again, as long as some specific routes are followed, shouldn't take any damage. This phase can be a bit of a problem since I don't think that the spot
That was in the wrong spot, actually.
is always the same. If your position is like pixel perfect, it might be the same, but I think there's a bit of RNG in where the weak spot is placed in this phase. So the fastest way you can deal damage here is by boosting up through its body, but that's not the safest.
Oh boy!
So now there's 3 more hits here. That's risky. Okay, so that's a
That
good
was
example
lucky.
about using iframes from being helpless. Jordan just didn't take damage because she was on the ground.
Oh my gosh, that was so lucky!
That was a clutch kill. That was a clutch kill and a half.
I did that on
Very
purpose,
dangerous.
not gonna lie.
Very well
I'm just kidding.
Now, thankfully, there is no more big threats until the end of the run. It's not quite the end of the run yet, because once you escape the pig star, there's one more auto-scroll of boss fights to go through. But it's very unlikely to survive that boss fight, and then time is after the final boss breaks off.
Oh my
Re-entry
goodness.
and then the screen goes white. So there's just over a minute left. I mean, if you sit there and do nothing, you can of course die. It's one of the easier parts of a run. Even in a hard mode run where everything kills you in one hit, I wouldn't expect to take a death on this boss. Like, it always follows the same pattern, so as long as you pay attention to what you're doing, it's
Yeah, and I mean, I just want to watch the TV, so I wonder what he's showing.
It's going to die towards you here at specific intervals, and it's based on where you are at a specific point. So we're taking to jump to one side, and then you can go towards the other side, and it's just a few cycles of this until we get
Huh?
to the Earth. And that's going to be the run.
Alright, we have one more cycle here. And I just want to thank everybody for watching. Shout out to JordanTheLass, Daggeron, the RKA community. And actually, this is my first marathon, so this is a huge honor for me, you know? And time is coming up when screen fades to white. And time. So that was a run.
Yep, that is a sub 31.
Oh my gosh! That's awesome! That's not too bad!
This is weird. We actually have the exact same live split timers. We're both displaying 30, 59, 45.
That's awesome! Perfect timing! Oh my gosh, that death during the robot fight was so unfortunate. I hesitated, which is why I got hit. But other than that, the run went very well. So
Yeah,
I
it's
pretty
really
much got all the boss fights to 2 hearts or less. So I'll tally up how much I'll donate with that. Even though this was a 1 death run, I'm still gonna donate the $40 because this was just so awesome. Thanks you guys for watching me. Thanks for having me, JordanTheLass, and good luck, Supersonic. I hope you get to ESA.
Yeah, thank you very much for the run as well. And let me just switch back to OBS.
Alright, yeah, thank you very much as well, Jordan, for the run, and thank you especially for still offering to put through the full donation, even though it wasn't a deathless run. That's very generous of you. We'll just move to a short intermission now to set up for the next run, which is going to be Descent 1 by Fozon. So we'll be back very shortly.